Sometimes things that cause us stress or anxiety are related to what's going on in our heads, and other times it's about tangible problems in our lives. Worrying about money is a common issue that can cause a huge amount of stress. That stress can spill over into other areas of our lives and impact our work, school, and relationships. Now, when it comes to worries over problems like money, there are two main categories these problems fall into. Those are things that we can change and things that we can't change. Now, for instance, if you are running low on money every single month, we can take a look at on our budget and see if there is any compromises that we can make to help balance things out. And if we are overwhelmed by credit card debt, we can work on a plan to pay off this debt and also try to use credit cards more responsibly. Now, what I'm trying to say is that the only way we can deal with financial stress is to identify the source or the cause and make changes to it. You can't change your financial situation overnight, but you can develop a plan to take control and deal with money problems. And handling money can be difficult. We all know that, particularly if you learn the poor money habits when you're young from your parents. You may be unable to pay your bills, save money, or have a budget. So in this video, we are going to look at some common mistakes many people make with their money coming up. Mistake number one is spending too much money on your home. Now, whether you rent or own, you shouldn't spend too much money on your housing. Just how much is too much? So when it comes to this, many people agree roughly 30% of your income can be spent on housing. But that number isn't right for everyone. To truly understand how much you can afford, you need to determine whether you can pay off your home and still afford basic necessities. There is no need for owning a home that is taking 75% of your income, because then you're going to fall behind on other bills. Plus, you must take into account how many bills you have and whether your debt payments are significant. And if you have few additional bills and no debt, you may be able to afford a higher monthly housing payment. Mistake number two is prolonging debt. Now, too much debt can be stiffing and it can have several consequences. For one, it may lower your credit score and you may not have enough funds to pay other bills. You're also at risk for being unable to secure a loan. So if you can, it's important to pay down your debt. Now, according to research, 8 in 10 Americans have debt. While some debt can help to build wealth at the beginning of life, your financial security can increase if you have too much debt as you age. And if you are continually using credit to purchase items, it's important to start paying off this credit card debt. And also understand the problem is not debt, but the problem is the interest that comes with this debt. So I think it's better to do your research on how interests work. Mistake number three is working alone. Now, if you are in a committed relationship, you should be working with your partner to make smart financial decisions. It's easy to get into a rhythm of making your own decisions, paying your own bills, and working on your own financial goals. But once you get married or move in with someone, you should be discussing your finances together. Now, it's necessary to set mutual goals if you plan to live together. Otherwise, you risk financial disagreements. There are several money saving strategies that can help to improve your finances as a couple. Even if you're not in a relationship, it may be a good idea to get help from a financial advisor or even a trusted friend who is good with money. Sometimes having someone else who can hold you accountable is a great way to get on track. Mistake number four is neglecting the future. Now, you won't be able to go back in time to save money. And this is where an emergency fund is an absolute necessity. If you don't have money saved in case of an emergency, you need to make that a priority in your budget. You never know when an accident, illness, or a job loss is going to force you to rely on your savings. You also need to be saving regularly for big ticket items you can't pay for out of pocket, such as home repair or a new car. All of these expenses are not a matter of if, but when. So being prepared is so critical. Mistake number five is not saving for retirement. Now, if you're in your 20s or 30s, you may think You don't need to start investing for retirement yet, but it's important to think about the future. No matter how old you are, there is no way to know what social security is going to look like when you retire, and you need to save and invest in order to have the money you need to be comfortable in retirement. And always remember, the earlier you begin, the more you take advantage of compound interest. Plus, it's easier to save and invest when you are young, because this is when you have less responsibilities than waiting when you already have a family to take care of. Mistake number 6 is emotional spending. Now, have you ever had a really tough week and thought you deserved a pricey treat for going through it? Now, lots of things can trigger emotional spending. That can be from stress, anxiety, or even a good mood can cause you to spend or open your wallet. Or you may feel pressure to keep up with your friends, since it's the norm these days to try to look rich rather than being rich. Now, whatever your trigger is, it's best to pump the brakes on this type of spending, even if it's just a few dollars on a latte to cheer you up. Most emotional purchases are unplanned and therefore not in your budget. Try setting aside a certain amount of money each month for this kind of spendings to cover these purchases and stop yourself from going over that amount. Mistake number 7 is not setting up a budget. It's hard even to notice you are making any of these common mistakes if you don't have a budget. So it's critical to keep track of your spending, especially if money is tight. Now, an ideal budget should have room for savings, it should have room for retirement, and impulsive purchases, as well as your basic monthly expenses. Now, if you don't already have a budget in place, start by tracking your spending. Now, you may realize you need to realign some priorities to avoid making mistakes with your finances. You see, we all make financial mistakes all the time. However, we need to catch them before they become big problems. Now, some of us don't want to even think about it, but remember, not thinking about the problem does not take it away. Thanks for watching another video for working smart, saving and investing. Smash the like button and consider subscribing to join the journey of financial freedom. See you in my next video.